We're back with American Idol Katharine McPhee, who's sharing with us some of the very personal decisions that she had to make this year. Katharine, you went into treatment for this problem. So tell me what that process was like and what it did for you.
It was scary. I remember my first day in program. I didn't really look from the outside. I kind of looked like, you know, every other average woman, just kind of, you know, a little extra chunk on the badonkadonk. But, like, just, you know, and I remember my very first meal. It was like I had all my meals there, and they weren't, you know, overtly, you know, sweet to me and welcoming. I mean, they were. And let me say, they're now some of my best friends in the world.
Right.
And I think that's a major part in recovery, is you stay in contact with the people who are recovering with you. But I remember my first meal, I just, you know, with bulimia, I just wanted to eat it so fast. And I remember some girls didn't want to eat it at all. And I just wanted to eat it so fast to get away from the fact that I had to even be there. And I just was in tears, like completely in tears. And you know, I mean, it was horrible. And the second day, I clicked, and you know, I went head first. And you know, like she said, she went to 2 different programs. It took her 2 times.
You have to try more than one, obviously.
Don't make my situation your, you know, your standard, your blueprint. You know, everybody's different, but at least go get the help and do whatever it is that works for you. You know?
And so, how did you feel when she told you about her problem and you learned she was going to go into treatment?
I was actually a bit. I wanted her to go into treatment, but I was even going through the, well, does she really have to do it like for the 6 days a week? And oh my God, I mean, is there any other way? And because it was so.
This was 5 years after the fact that I already explained to them.
And I thought, and because I always thought, okay, well, okay, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. And I mean, I think that's something I addressed in that first interview on tape, was that everybody does it once in a while. You know what I mean? Everyone starves themselves to whatever, it's women especially, and this doesn't just affect women. Exactly.
It doesn't, it affects men as well.
But, you know, after I went to a couple, there's the family night, you know, at the place, and I felt so connected with Katharine, you know, for a first time in a long time.
Yeah, and your family obviously had to participate in the treatment, and you allude to, of course, that you had demons that you needed to confront. And I know, since I'm a psychiatrist, I know a little bit about treatment of eating disorders, so I imagine that you learned things about your relationships within the family that might be, you know, feeding, intentional word choice, this problem for you.
Right.
Now, by the way, I know you're courageous, because otherwise I wouldn't go there, but did you learn for you what were the dynamics that were feeding your addiction?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, I won't go into detail, you know, because it's...
Until our second show.
Until part 2.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's personal. It's, you know, you always have to be careful the fine line of divulging other people's personal business issues. But, you know, I think definitely there were, you know, growing up, I was always really fearful of my father, and, you know, just he was like the mean, scary producer, because my dad's a TV producer, you know, or he's more in like industrial stuff now, but, you know, there was a sense of fear, and now look at him, he's like the sweetest thing ever. He's just like, you know, but it took years and years and years to overcome that, and like, you know, and a lot of the stuff growing up as a kid, really having a difficult time in school, what do you call it?
Self-critical, low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem was huge for me, because I was like, I was always the pretty little girl who was stupid, you know, and that was really difficult on me. I remember every morning driving to school, my dad would take us to school, and nobody knew, but I was terrified just to be at school. I couldn't wait till recess. I was terrified the teacher was going to call on me to read out loud, you know. I mean,
because you had a reading problem.
Yeah, I had a reading problem. I had to go to, through eye therapy for over a year before about the 7th grade was finally when we realized it was an actual physical problem. It wasn't like a mental thing, you know. And there's just all these kinds of things that happen to kids that parents don't know about, and that really affect their self-esteem. So then this little girl grows up that, you know, thinking that being beautiful is the only thing that's important, you know. Obviously I'm going to go have an eating disorder, you know, because as soon as I started putting on weight, what was the most important thing? To look perfect.
Right, and it's
So-
distracting, of course. I mean, if you can focus on your eating, you don't have to focus on what it felt like
Right.
to be scared, what
Right.
it felt like to be made fun of. It's a
Right.
distraction, as every addiction is, you know. I mean, there's pain underneath, I
There's
find,
pain.
everything.
Right. What an eating disorder really is a crutch, you know, for what's really, really going on.
Right. More with Katharine and Adriana McPhee when we return. Stay with us.
If you would like to attend a free taping of the Dr. Keith Abloh Show,